When I saw the notification popped up on my phone that Israel has attacked Iran, I instantly got very excited. Immediately told my mother, who was visiting me, with excitement, and her reaction was one of fear because of our family that lives there and because of my sister. But my reaction was a cautious optimism, filled with joy because of the price of freedom. As we say in our country, freedom is not free. The only way to have a free motherland is to have another nation help Persians take it back. My motherland, our country, was taken away from us in 1979 by fanatic extremists that were backed and brought to power by France and England, and eventually with the help of Jimmy Carter. For whatever reason, which I'm not going to get into right now, Western European governments love extreme Islam. It works for them for a lot of reasons, which I will probably talk about later, another time. What I want to focus on right now is my motherland of Iran. And yes, that's how it's pronounced. Iran. E-R-O-N. That's the pronunciation, like Enron, the oil company. Iran was hijacked by extremists in 1979, and it has been a 46-year journey of defiance against the occupying regime. The regime that has occupied Iran refers to Israel as the occupying force. Well, they're the one who have occupied Iran and have held its people hostage since 1979. By the way, how could Israel be considered an occupying force when in Genesis 15:18 it says, "On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham. He said, I'm giving this land to your children after you. It reaches from the river of Egypt to the great river Euphrates." So if we believe in religions, we can't accept certain things and not other parts of it. But the Iran regime took over Iran in 1979 and murdered people like in the 80s that 4,000 political prisoners were executed by Khomeini, the supreme leader at that time. Last night, Joy Reid on CNN was talking about Shah of Iran, Mossadegh, oil, and all of that in a very ignorant and professorial way, while interrupting and shushing everyone, yelling over everybody else, trying to make her point, which was completely wrong. And that is what I believe is wrong with the world right now: ignorance. Strange times. Every Persian I talk to is completely shocked because of the ceasefire. How can a nation like the United States, who believes in democracy, in human rights, or any human would ever consider ceasefire and negotiation with a murderous regime? I think of this analogy. Iran's regime is like an active shooter in a school. When you apprehend an active shooter, will you then let them go? This approach looks like apprehension of an active shooter and then letting the active shooter go back to the classroom. Say it's a student, say, we will tell him, you better be on your best behavior now. Go back to your class. And we don't even take the gun from them. We take, for example, 8 bullets and leave them with 4. And we tell them, hey, put your gun on the desk so we can see. Now go back to your classroom. It's exactly a situation like that. And with what Trump and the international community have pushed Israel to do, is basically sending Iran back to its normal way of doing things, with the ammunition they have. For most people that talk about Iran on TV, everything is conceptual. For me, it's real. I've lived it. So I knew that as soon as the ceasefire starts, the regime will start killing people, because now the regime is wounded and is delusional and is paranoid, because they're afraid of every citizen, and they think every citizen is a spy for Israel. And bam, Reuters published an article today, short article, that 4 people were hung in Iran for treason and aiding Israel. There is no due process in Iran. Any member of the regime, any police force, IRGC, anything like that, can apprehend a person, arrest them, take them to a jail, or just kill them, and just simply say they died, they got executed because they were an Israeli spy. These are not tales from a horrible show like Handmaid's Tale. These are real things in Iran. So to all those conceptual conversations and panel members on CNN or Fox or MSNBC, which I don't watch anymore, it is crazy to discuss merits of a murderous regime and try to explain why do they say the things they say. For example, dead to America, dead to Israel, and why they murder their own people. We don't sit and discuss merits of an active shooter. We don't sit and talk about, well, maybe they had a different ideology. That's why they had the right to go and shoot people. We don't talk about stuff like that. That would be considered nonsense. And that's what I'm hearing a lot on TV these days. Absolute nonsense. I saw a trailer for Call of Duty a few years ago. And in that trailer, the demo, there's a general that says something along the lines of, terrorism is good for business. And I can never forget that, because I've seen it for years. Apparently terrorism is really good for business because we don't really do anything about it. Why don't countries like us that want to protect their citizens and the world don't eradicate terrorism? Right now, the biggest sponsor of terror in the world, regime of Iran. I don't know, maybe it's because if Iran is gone, the whole region will be calm and peaceful, and then there is no Iran to wave in Saudi Arabia's face and say, you see, that crazy Iran is over there. Don't you want to buy more fighter jets or other weaponries to other neighboring countries? Maybe a peaceful world is not in the agenda. But at this stage of my life, I really don't care about these general talks and philosophical conversation. I'm just hoping for a free Iran. Gaddafi got killed. The regime changed. Egypt, Iraq, all of that. And then my motherland, when it comes to Iran, nobody cares. 3 years ago, the biggest women's rights movement ever, nobody talked about it. 2009, people uprising. Obama waited a couple of weeks, and then he came out in a press conference, talked about an executive order that he wrote to ban, not to ban, but executive order that he wrote about smoking. And that's it. Did not take any questions about Iran's situation. I'm just hoping for a free Iran. I'm just hoping for a free motherland that I can go visit without getting arrested and put in jail because I have Jewish ties and I have Jewish family members. Or that a company that sponsored me and provided me with a scholarship had Jewish money in it. I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the environmentalists that were in Iran and got jailed. They went to prison, Evin prison, the most notorious one, for 8+ years. I have worked with all of them in Iran. I simply cannot go because the regime is that crazy. With everything that the president said today at NATO, and with our obsession with portraying things as we are looking for peace, it's getting less and less likely that this regime would change. I know in the US we have to worry about midterm elections, all of that, but by not finishing the job, we are not eliminating the threat. I'm deflated and depressed and lost hope because we were so close to a free Iran and now we are yet again so far away. Iran is not Iraq. Iran is not another nation building the media talks about. Iran has been hijacked by a group. It's like an airplane getting hijacked. We don't sit and say, we don't need to save the people. We might not want to save the people on a hijacked airplane because we really don't know what's going to happen after you get rid of the hijackers. Well, the people on that plane will go on and live their normal lives. They're regular humans and want a normal life. When they get off the plane, they continue their lives. I really want to say God bless Benjamin Netanyahu, whatever God he believes in. He has a vision for Iran, a free Iran. It's historical based because Cyrus the Great, 2,000 years ago, freed Israel and gave it back to its Jewish people. But his vision is less and less likely to happen. I compare the situation to when Israel asked the United States to get involved with the B-2 bombers. It's like going to your parents to ask for money. You know, Mom, Dad, give me 20K. It comes with strings attached. They might ask you to, hey, I'll give you 20K if you stop dating that girl or if you do certain things. And I believe that's happened with Israel. Israel made a calculation, B-2 bombers, and just, destruction of, nuclear areas, facilities. And they went with that. It came with demands from our country, and I believe, we wanted the war to stop because it's in our interest to not get involved in any other wars, which this one is good against evil. And now we're just you're going to go negotiate with evil. So Israel had to stop the fight prematurely. And it looks like, it feels like nobody cares about human lives. And nobody cares about democracy. The Iran murderous regime will bounce back in a few months. The supreme leader that is now in hiding will probably go and do the Friday prayers, because that's when they do their prayers. This Friday, or maybe next Friday. And they will chant death to America and death to Israel, and they will celebrate that they defeated us. And unfortunately, the regime will kill most of its citizens, most of its people. Now the Islamic Republic knows there are so many Israeli spies in Iran. So probably IRGC would try to execute half of IRGC. So it's going to be mayhem. It's going to make it so much harder for the Iranian people and for the international community. I wish I was wrong, but it's not my first rodeo. I've seen it before.